Have you ever wondered why the kindest people sometimes pay the highest price? Centuries ago, Machiavelli observed the world not with envy, but with a sharp, unflinching eye. He saw that goodness, a true, unyielding goodness, is a currency more costly than gold, more fragile than glass. And yet society often rewards the cunning, the loud, the ruthless, while those who act with virtue carry a weight invisible to the crowd. What is this weight? Perhaps it is the burden of honesty in a world that whispers lies. Perhaps it is the loneliness that follows when your soul refuses to bend to injustice. Perhaps it is the quiet disappointment when your efforts to do good go unnoticed, even unappreciated. But here lies a secret. The cost of goodness is not its punishment, it is its power. Every act of courage, every silent choice for integrity, every moment spent standing firm in your values shapes not the world around you, but the fortress within. So today, let us explore the hidden truth behind goodness. Not the surface rewards, not the applause, but the inner riches, the lessons, and the shadows that Machiavelli whispered about centuries ago. Lesson 1, the burden of integrity. The first cost of goodness is also the first challenge, integrity. To be truly good, to live honestly in a world that often values appearances over reality, is to carry a weight invisible to others. Imagine a man walking through a bustling market, surrounded by merchants shouting promises they cannot keep. He too could lie, cheat, or take the easier path, but he chooses not to. Every word he speaks, every action he takes, is measured against his own standards, not the shifting morals of the crowd. That discipline, that refusal to compromise, comes with a quiet burden. People may misunderstand him, question his motives, or even resent him. Machiavelli knew this well. He observed rulers, politicians, and citizens alike. The world rewards those who bend, those who deceive, those who chase advantage. The person who holds steadfast to goodness often walks alone, their path narrow, their choices scrutinized. And yet, there is a profound strength in this solitude. Integrity forms the backbone of the soul, a hidden armor that cannot be stripped away by fortune or fear. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to say the right thing in public, but so much harder to act rightly when no one is watching? This is where true character is forged. The burden of integrity is not punishment. It is the fire in which virtue is strengthened. Goodness demands patience. It requires restraint in moments when impulse might lead to immediate gain. It asks for courage when the world would have you compromise. And it tests your heart when kindness is met with indifference. But each challenge, each quiet refusal to betray your principles, builds something more lasting than wealth or reputation. Think of integrity like a sculptor chiseling stone. Every small act of honesty, every moment of courage, shapes you slowly, steadily, into someone unshakable. And though the world may not immediately see the work, the finished sculpture, your life, will shine unmistakably in the quiet glow of conscience. So, reflect on this. Do you honor your own standards, even when doing so costs you comfort, recognition, or ease? Share your thoughts in the comments. Where has integrity asked you to pay a price? And how did it shape the person you are today? The lesson here is clear. The cost of integrity is real. It may be isolation, misunderstanding, or frustration. But in paying this cost, you earn something invisible yet unbreakable, a self you can trust, a mind free from regret, a soul aligned with its highest purpose. Lesson 2. The world mistakes goodness for weakness. One of the harshest truths Machiavelli ever noted is this: the world often mistakes goodness for weakness. It's a quiet cruelty, subtle but persistent, that targets those who act with honesty, fairness, and moral courage. Imagine a child learning to walk. The child takes careful steps, cautious and deliberate. And yet, those who rush past may laugh at the wobble, misjudging care for frailty. In life, goodness is often treated the same way. People see your patience, your fairness, your restraint, and they misinterpret it as timidity. They assume that because you do not strike first, because you do not manipulate, you are vulnerable, easy to overpower. But Machiavelli teaches us a profound reversal. True moral courage is not weakness. In fact, it is a strength the world rarely recognizes. Like a tree bending in the wind, Goodness absorbs pressure, survives storms, and eventually stands taller than those who thrash violently in their own impatience. The strong do not always shout. Often they endure quietly, accumulating resilience in ways unseen. Have you ever felt overlooked because you refused to act unkindly? Perhaps someone cut in line, cheated you, or betrayed trust, and you chose patience over revenge. It may have felt like loss. Others may have labeled you soft or naive. Yet every time you choose integrity over cunning, something extraordinary happens inside. You prove, first to yourself, that no external force can coerce your inner compass. You gain power, not over others, but over your own heart. Machiavelli noticed this in the courts of princes, where schemers were praised for cleverness and honesty. Ministers were dismissed as powerless. He observed the harsh irony. The most virtuous often endure the most, while the unscrupulous reap visible rewards. This is the shocking cost of goodness. But here lies the lesson few understand. The value of virtue is not immediate recognition. It is the quiet mastery of self, the ability to act rightly even when the world misunderstands you. Think of goodness like a hidden flame. Those who chase it might feel it burns too softly to matter. But it warms steadily, unseen by many, and in time, it can ignite the courage and inspiration of others. Your moral courage becomes a subtle influence, like wind shaping the course of a river. Even when ignored, it carves a path through stone, teaching patience, resilience, and enduring strength. And yet, this lesson is not without challenge. Being good in a world that mistakes it for weakness requires vigilance. It demands self-reflection. Are your actions truly grounded in virtue, or are they concessions to fear or desire for praise? Goodness becomes dangerous not to others, but to the self, if it is performative, if it bends to expectation. The world may reward cunning, but it cannot grant the inner freedom that comes from unshakable moral courage. So pause and ask yourself, when you acted with kindness and restraint, did the world misunderstand you? Did someone interpret your fairness as weakness? Share it in the comments. How did you respond? And what did you learn about your own strength in the process? The truth Machiavelli whispers is timeless. Goodness is rarely recognized, often underestimated but infinitely potent. When others mistake it for weakness, it is not a loss, it is the quiet proof that you possess a courage that the world cannot measure, a power that grows precisely because it is unseen. Lesson 3, the loneliness of virtue. There is a quiet cost to goodness that few speak of, loneliness. Machiavelli observed that those who live by virtue, who act with honesty and moral courage, often find themselves separated from the crowd, not because they choose isolation, but because the world in its haste rarely understands the choices of the virtuous. Imagine a candle burning in the dark. Its light is gentle, steady, unwavering, but around it shadows swirl and many pass by without noticing. The flame offers warmth, yet it stands alone, uncelebrated. So too is the path of the good. Every choice made in honesty, every refusal to conform to deceit or cruelty sets you apart. Friends may misunderstand you, colleagues may question your motives, and the world may seem indifferent to your efforts. Machiavelli did not romanticize this solitude. He recognized the sting. Humans are social creatures, and approval, recognition, and companionship are powerful desires. Yet, for those who seek virtue over convenience, loneliness becomes a companion, a reminder that goodness is not always celebrated, but it is never meaningless. In fact, it is in these quiet moments of solitude that the strength of character is truly forged. Have you ever felt alone because you refused to compromise your values? Perhaps you held your tongue when gossip tempted others, or offered help without expectation of return and felt invisible for it. This loneliness is not a punishment but a signal, a marker of moral clarity. It means you are walking a path fewer dare to tread, and the solitude itself strengthens the resolve within you. Think of virtue as a deep river flowing through a forest. It may not glisten in the sunlight like a waterfall, nor roar with attention, but it nourishes every tree along its path. You may walk through the forest alone, yet the river's current quietly shapes the world around it. In the same way, Your acts of goodness ripple outward, often unseen, influencing others subtly over time. Yet loneliness carries its own lessons. It teaches self-reliance, reminding us that our value is not determined by applause or recognition. It demands patience, as the fruits of virtue rarely appear immediately. And it cultivates humility, because the most important witness to your actions is your own conscience. The world may misunderstand, but your integrity remains intact, unshaken. Machiavelli also hinted at a paradox. Those who endure this loneliness often find a deeper, more lasting connection to themselves and to the truths that guide life. In solitude, the mind becomes sharper, the heart calmer, and the spirit steadier. The virtuous discover that external approval is temporary, but inner harmony is eternal. So reflect for a moment. Have you embraced your solitude when the world did not understand your choices? Did you allow loneliness to shape you into someone stronger, more patient, more certain of what truly matters? Share in the comments how moments of being misunderstood have deepened your character and clarified your values. The hidden truth is this: goodness carries a price, and loneliness is part of that cost. But it is not a punishment, it is a crucible. Through this quiet separation, your virtues grow resilient, your soul learns to stand independently, and your actions, though often unnoticed, gain a power that cannot be measured by applause or recognition. In the end, the loneliness of virtue is both a challenge and a gift. It separates you from the fleeting crowds, yet it aligns you with the timeless currents of courage, integrity, and moral truth, the very forces that shape history and the lives of those who dare to be truly good. Lesson 4: Betrayal and the hidden cost of goodness. Another harsh truth Machiavelli observed is that goodness often invites betrayal. It's a bitter irony. Those who act with honesty, kindness, and moral courage sometimes become the very targets of deception, manipulation, or disappointment. The world, he noted, respects power, visible, immediate, and often ruthless and more than quiet virtue. Imagine planting a garden with care. You water each seed, tend to every plant, and shield it from harm. And yet some seeds are devoured by pests or trampled by passers-by. Goodness is like that garden. You nurture it, but the world may not always respond in kind. People may take advantage of your trust, betray your expectations, or fail to recognize your effort. The pain can feel personal, yet it is not a reflection of your value. It is a reflection of the unpredictability of life. Machiavelli knew this reality better than most. In his observations of rulers and statesmen, he saw loyal advisors deceived, honest ministers undermined, and kind leaders betrayed. The lesson is not to abandon virtue, but to recognize its cost. Goodness does not guarantee safety from disappointment. It may even attract the envious or unscrupulous. But here is the hidden truth. Betrayal teaches a type of resilience that cunning alone cannot. When someone betrays you, the natural impulse is anger or despair. But consider another path: reflection. What does this betrayal reveal about the person, about human nature, and about your own values? Machiavelli might say that the wise do not shrink from goodness because of betrayal. They learn to act with discernment, maintaining virtue while protecting their inner peace. Goodness becomes strategic, not in its essence, but in its preservation. Have you ever been hurt by someone you trusted deeply? Did it make you question your kindness? Or did it deepen your understanding of human complexity? Share your experience below. How did betrayal shape your approach to integrity and trust? Think of goodness as a sturdy bridge. It connects hearts, supports journeys, and offers passage to others. And yet storms may damage it. Travelers may leave it behind, or some may even attempt to destroy it. The bridge remains valuable, not because everyone respects it, but because it continues to fulfill its purpose, connecting, supporting, and enduring. Betrayal tests its strength, but it also proves it is built to last. Machiavelli's hidden wisdom lies in this: the world will sometimes misinterpret virtue, fail to reward it, and even respond with harm. But goodness is resilient when paired with awareness. It is not weakened by disappointment. It is refined. Each betrayal, each moment of being taken for granted, becomes a lesson in patience, discernment, and inner fortitude. So pause and reflect. How have moments of betrayal or misunderstanding tested your moral compass? Did they make you bitter, or did they deepen your resilience? In recognizing the hidden costs of goodness, we begin to see that virtue is not naive. It is courageous, patient, and enduring, able to withstand the very storms it did not create. Ultimately, the cost of goodness includes disappointment and betrayal. Yet within these trials lies the reward of inner strength, a deeper understanding of human nature, and a moral courage that no deception can take away. The truly virtuous emerge from betrayal not weaker, but wiser, their character tempered like steel, their choices guided by the quiet wisdom of experience rather than the fleeting approval of others. Lesson 5. Goodness challenges comfort. One of the hidden costs of goodness is its constant challenge to comfort. Machiavelli understood that acting with virtue often means choosing the harder path, the path of patience, courage, and moral integrity, even when the easier choice promises relief, reward, or approval. Imagine a traveler crossing a mountain trail. The path of least resistance winds gently through a valley, soft and predictable. But the path of virtue, honesty, fairness, compassion, climbs steep cliffs, tests endurance, and demands attention at every step. Every act of goodness requires effort. Every decision to stay true to your principles asks you to forego ease and embrace responsibility. Comfort tempts us all. It whispers, bend the truth, take the shortcut, let someone else shoulder the cost. And in a world that often rewards cunning over character, the temptation is strong. But Machiavelli observed a truth that resonates through the ages. Goodness is not about what is easy. It is about what is right. And the right path rarely aligns with comfort. Have you noticed how small compromises, meant to save time or energy, can slowly erode your sense of self? The cost of avoiding discomfort may seem negligible at first, but over time, it shapes your character in ways you might regret. Virtue, on the other hand, demands mindfulness. It requires that each choice be weighed, not for convenience, but for alignment with your principles. And though it may feel heavier, it strengthens the mind and fortifies the soul. Think of goodness like forging metal. Heat, pressure, and hammering are not punishments. They are the tools that shape the material into something enduring. Likewise, the discomfort and challenge inherent in moral action refine your spirit. Every act of patience when provoked, every refusal to yield to unfairness, every choice to serve others before yourself, is a strike of the hammer that builds resilience. Machiavelli knew that those who take the path of goodness often walk alone. Their lives are quieter, their achievements less applauded. Yet this solitude is precisely what allows the virtues to grow without interference. Comfort may bring temporary ease, but it leaves the heart soft, pliable, and vulnerable to the pressures of the world. Goodness teaches endurance, self-reliance, and a calm strength that cannot be shaken by fortune, criticism, or failure. Ask yourself, when was the last time you chose what was right over what was easy? Did it cost you time, recognition, or convenience? And yet, did it leave you feeling stronger, clearer, or more aligned with your values? Share your experience in the comments. Your journey might inspire someone else to embrace the challenging path of virtue. The hidden lesson here is profound. Comfort is fleeting, while the rewards of goodness endure. Each moment you resist the easy choice. You build a fortress within yourself, one that cannot be breached by greed, envy, or injustice. The cost is real. It is sweat, patience, and effort. But the value is immeasurable. A mind disciplined, a soul resilient, and a life lived in harmony with truth. Ultimately, goodness is never easy, and that is precisely why it is powerful. The struggle against comfort is the forge in which your character is tempered, your courage tested, and your inner strength awakened. Machiavelli's hidden truth reminds us. The path of virtue is narrow, steep, and demanding, but it leads to heights that no ease or convenience could ever reach. Lesson 6. The cost of difficult choices. Goodness often demands difficult choices, decisions that weigh heavily on the heart, decisions that offer no easy answer. Machiavelli observed that those who act with virtue are constantly confronted with moral dilemmas, where the right path is neither obvious nor convenient, and the stakes are always real. Imagine standing at a crossroads at night. One path is smooth, lit by the glow of approval, easy and inviting. The other is dark, rough, uncertain, yet aligned with your values. Every step along that path demands courage, patience, and self-reflection. Choosing goodness is rarely simple. It is a deliberate act of weighing principles against desire, integrity against temptation. The world often misunderstands these choices. Outsiders may see hesitation as weakness, indecision as fear, or caution as timidity. Yet Machiavelli teaches us that true virtue lies not in impulsive action, but in discernment. The wisdom to choose rightly even when no option is free from consequence. The cost of goodness is not only what you must sacrifice, but also the burden of making choices that may never be praised or fully understood. Have you ever faced a decision where doing the right thing meant losing comfort, status, or approval? Perhaps it was refusing to speak ill of someone, offering help when it went unnoticed, or standing by your principles despite ridicule. Each of these moments carries weight, and yet in navigating these difficult choices, your character is honed. The mind becomes sharper, the heart steadier, and the soul more resilient. Think of virtue like balancing on a tightrope. Every choice requires careful thought. Every step demands concentration. Misstep and you may stumble. Act wisely and the rope strengthens beneath you. Over time, the very act of choosing rightly, repeatedly, builds a strength unseen by those who only observe the surface. It creates a life lived with intention, where every decision, even the hardest, reflects the values that define you. Machiavelli understood that difficult choices are inseparable from the cost of goodness. Those who pursue virtue are not rewarded with ease or praise. They are tested, challenged, and sometimes misunderstood. Yet this is precisely the measure of moral courage, the ability to navigate complexity without surrendering integrity, to act with conscience even when no one else will witness it. Reflect for a moment. Which choice in your life tested your integrity the most? Did you choose what was easy, or did you follow what was right? How did that decision shape who you are today? Share it in the comments. Your experience can illuminate the hidden rewards of virtuous choices for someone else walking a similar path. The hidden power of these difficult choices lies not in external recognition, but in internal mastery. By confronting challenges with courage and reflection, you cultivate wisdom, patience, and moral strength. You learn to accept that the cost of goodness may include discomfort, sacrifice, and loneliness. But it also brings clarity, self-respect, and a deeper connection to your principles. Ultimately, the lesson is clear. The cost of goodness is measured in choices, often difficult, sometimes painful, but always transformative. Each act of discernment, each decision to uphold virtue in the face of challenge, builds a foundation that cannot be shaken by fortune, criticism, or fear. Machiavelli's hidden truth reminds us that virtue is not simple, but it is lasting. And in choosing rightly, even when it costs you, you step closer to the life of quiet power, moral clarity, and inner freedom that true goodness promises. Lesson 7. Envy and resistance, the shadow of goodness. Goodness does not go unnoticed, and yet not all attention is kind. Machiavelli observed a subtle truth. When you act with virtue, some will envy you, resist you, or even try to diminish your efforts. The very qualities that define goodness, honesty, courage, patience, can provoke discomfort in others, because they shine a light on what the world often lacks. Imagine a candle in a dark room. Its light is gentle but undeniable. Some may feel comforted, others may feel exposed. Goodness is the same. When you act rightly, you may inspire, but you may also irritate. People who prefer shortcuts, deception, or convenience may resent the clarity of your integrity. They may challenge you, test your patience, or even attempt to sabotage your efforts. Machiavelli recognized this resistance not as punishment, but as proof of the power inherent in virtue. Have you ever noticed subtle opposition when you chose honesty over compromise? Perhaps a colleague questioned your motives, a friend misunderstood your intentions, or society itself seemed to push back against your choices. Envy and resistance are not signs that you are failing. They are signs that your goodness has weight, that it matters in a world often willing to settle for less. Machiavelli teaches us that understanding this cost is part of mastery. The virtuous are not naive. They anticipate that resistance will come, that envy will follow, and that the world may challenge their every act of kindness. Yet goodness does not shrink in the face of opposition. On the contrary, it endures, adapts, and strengthens. Like a tree buffeted by wind, the roots grow deeper, the trunk firmer, the branches reaching higher. Adversity becomes a mirror, reflecting both the fragility and resilience of your character. Think of goodness as a stone thrown into a still pond. Its ripples spread far beyond the point of impact, touching waters that seem distant, even resistant. Some ripples may collide with obstacles, be distorted or slowed, but the energy remains. Likewise, your acts of virtue may meet envy, criticism, or misunderstanding. The response of others does not reduce their value. It merely highlights the courage required to maintain them. This lesson invites reflection. Do you allow the envy or resistance of others to dictate your choices? Or do you hold firm, understanding that the world's discomfort is not a reflection of your failure, but of the light you carry? Share your thoughts below. When has your goodness provoked resistance, and how did it shape your strength? Machiavelli's hidden truth reveals a paradox. The very cost that makes goodness difficult, the envy, the challenge, the opposition, also proves its worth. If virtue were always comfortable, always admired, it would have no power. It is precisely because goodness confronts resistance that it becomes meaningful, shaping not only your character, but also the moral landscape around you. The shadow of goodness is real, yet it need not frighten you. It teaches patience, discernment, and resilience. It reminds you that your path is yours alone, and that the judgment of others cannot define the depth of your courage, the integrity of your actions, or the quiet strength of your character. Ultimately, the cost of goodness includes envy and resistance. Yet within that cost lies a gift, proof that your virtue matters, that your choices ripple through the world, and that the quiet strength of moral courage can endure even in the face of opposition. Machiavelli whispers to us across centuries, when goodness is challenged, it is not weakened, it is revealed. Lesson 8. Patience and the wisdom of delayed reward. Goodness rarely brings instant reward. Machiavelli observed that those who act with virtue must often wait, sometimes years, before the benefits of their actions are seen or appreciated. The world favors speed, results, and visible triumph, but the cost of goodness is patience, the ability to act rightly now, even when the recognition may never come. Imagine planting a tree. You water it, tend to it, protect it from storms, yet for many seasons it bears no fruit. And still you continue. Every act of care, every decision guided by integrity, is an investment in a future that may be uncertain. Goodness is the same. Its rewards are not always immediate, but they are profound and enduring. The patient heart learns to embrace the slow unfolding of consequences, trusting that virtue carries its own value. Whether or not others notice, patience in goodness is not passive. It is an active endurance, a deliberate choice to act rightly in every moment, resisting the temptation of shortcuts, vengeance, or self-interest. Machiavelli recognized that impatience is the enemy of virtue. Those who seek immediate validation or quick gain may abandon integrity, trade honesty for advantage, or compromise the very qualities that define them. The cost of goodness, therefore, is learning to wait, to remain steadfast while the world rushes past. Have you ever acted rightly yet felt unseen or unrewarded? Perhaps you offered kindness to someone who did not return it, upheld honesty in the face of deceit, or defended what was just when others ignored the truth. These moments test patience. They ask you to trust the process, to recognize that the true measure of virtue lies not in applause but in the quiet knowledge that you have acted according to your principles. Share your experience in the comments. How has waiting, enduring, or persevering strengthened your character? Think of goodness as a river carving its way through stone. At first, the effort seems futile. The water flows gently, and the rock appears immovable. But over time, persistence shapes the stone, creating valleys, channels, and pathways that nothing else could achieve. The patient acts of virtue are like that river. Their impact may not be immediate or celebrated, but slowly and steadily they shape the world, their influence extending far beyond what can be seen in a single moment. Machiavelli teaches that delayed reward is part of the hidden cost of goodness, but it is also a secret gift. Patience strengthens the mind, teaching restraint, humility, and foresight. It deepens empathy, allowing us to see beyond our own desires and understand the long-term effects of our actions. And it cultivates resilience, reminding us that virtue does not depend on recognition, approval, or external validation. Reflect for a moment. When have you exercised patience in the service of goodness? Did waiting feel difficult, frustrating, or even discouraging? And yet, did it ultimately shape you into a more thoughtful, resilient, or wise person? In learning to embrace delayed reward, we discover that the true value of virtue lies not in immediate gain, but in the lasting impact it creates on ourselves, on others, and on the world. The hidden truth is clear: goodness demands patience. Yet that patience becomes a source of power. It allows virtue to endure, to grow quietly, and to influence beyond what the eye can see. Machiavelli reminds us that those who act rightly, even without reward, are building something eternal, a character that cannot be shaken, a life aligned with principle, and a legacy of integrity that outlasts applause, fortune, and time itself. Lesson 9. Humility, letting go of ego. One of the most subtle costs of goodness is humility. Machiavelli observed that those who act with virtue cannot cling to pride, recognition, or the desire for credit. True goodness requires letting go of the ego, of the need to be admired, applauded, or understood. And yet this surrender is not weakness. It is the quiet strength of moral maturity. Imagine a gardener planting seeds. The gardener cannot control the sun, the rain, or the growth of each plant. All they can do is nurture, tend, and act with care. The result may be bountiful or meager, but the gardener's value lies in the act of cultivation itself, not the harvest. Goodness operates in the same way. You act rightly not for reward, not for acknowledgement, but because it aligns with your principles. And in this alignment, humility is born. Have you ever noticed how performing acts of kindness or integrity sometimes goes unnoticed? Perhaps you helped someone without recognition, or spoke the truth when no one else appreciated it. The world may be silent, indifferent, or even dismissive. Yet Machiavelli teaches us that this is the natural cost of goodness. True virtue does not require validation. It thrives in quiet commitment, in the willingness to act rightly even when no one is watching. Humility also protects goodness. When ego leads, virtue can be compromised. The desire to be seen as good can twist intentions, turning noble acts into performances or transactions. Machiavelli understood that the genuinely virtuous are careful to act for principle, not for praise. They learn to separate action from recognition, understanding that the moral worth of their deeds does not depend on external acknowledgement. Think of humility as a river flowing gently through a valley. It does not boast, it does not compete, and yet its influence is profound. It nourishes everything it touches, shaping the land quietly but relentlessly. Similarly, a humble heart allows goodness to flow naturally, without forcing attention or demanding approval. The act itself becomes the reward, the shaping force of character, and the quiet proof of integrity. Machiavelli also recognized the tension this creates. Humility can feel isolating. The world often admires confidence, flamboyance, and assertiveness. Those who step back, act without applause, or serve quietly may be overlooked. But in this quiet, the virtuous find freedom. They are not slaves to recognition or envy, not controlled by the shifting opinions of others. Their strength comes from internal alignment, a mind disciplined, a soul peaceful, and a heart courageous. Reflect for a moment. How has humility shaped your actions? Have you acted rightly without needing recognition? How did that feel? Freeing, challenging, or even lonely? Share in the comments how surrendering ego has allowed your virtue to shine quietly, yet powerfully in your life. The hidden truth of humility is profound. The cost of goodness is often invisibility, the absence of praise, the quiet surrender of ego. Yet within this cost lies a gift. Humility strengthens virtue, protects integrity, and allows goodness to act with clarity and purity. Machiavelli whispers across centuries that the most powerful form of influence is not seen, applauded, or demanded. It is the silent, humble force of a life aligned with principle, a life that shapes character, inspires quietly, and endures eternally. Lesson 10. Inner freedom, the ultimate reward of goodness. After all the burdens, all the loneliness, betrayals, challenges, and resistance, Machiavelli reveals the final truth. The ultimate reward of goodness is inner freedom. It is the quiet power that comes from knowing you have acted rightly, even when the world misunderstood, opposed, or ignored you. This freedom is not granted by others. It is earned silently within the heart. Imagine standing on a mountain peak after a long, arduous climb. The path was steep, rocky, and exhausting. At times, you wanted to turn back, to take the easier way, to abandon your journey. Yet you persevered, and now you look out over the world below. The air is clear, your mind calm, and there is a profound sense of liberation. This is the feeling of goodness realized, the freedom that comes from acting with courage, integrity, and patience regardless of reward. Machiavelli understood that most people live constrained by fear, by desire, by the approval or judgment of others. They bend, compromise, and react to external pressures. The virtuous, however, are free in a way that no fortune, insult, or loss can touch. They have mastered their choices, shaped their character, and preserved their moral compass. This inner freedom is the hidden power of goodness, forged precisely by its costs. Have you ever experienced this sense of freedom? Perhaps after choosing honesty in a difficult situation, or after helping someone without expectation, or after standing firm in your values while the world rushed past. That moment when your heart aligns with your conscience brings a peace and clarity unlike any external reward. It is a confirmation that the sacrifices, patience, and challenges were not in vain, that your goodness carries a strength the world cannot give or take away. Think of inner freedom like a fortress built on solid rock. Every burden, every lonely walk, every difficult choice laid the stones. Betrayal and envy tested its walls, but each trial made it stronger. Humility and patience cemented its foundation, and at its heart is a space no one can enter without your permission. A mind clear, a spirit undisturbed, a soul aligned with truth. This is the essence of moral power, not domination over others, but mastery over yourself. Machiavelli's hidden truth is timeless. Goodness carries costs, loneliness, misunderstanding, resistance, delay, and challenge. Yet these costs are precisely what make virtue strong. They refine the mind, discipline the heart, and fortify the spirit. And in enduring them, we discover the most profound freedom, the ability to act rightly without fear, to live in alignment with principle, and to carry a strength that no external force can shake. Reflect for a moment. What costs have you endured to act rightly? How has that shaped your sense of self, your courage, and your inner peace? Share your story in the comments. In doing so, you not only honor your own journey, but inspire others to recognize the hidden rewards of goodness. The final lesson is simple yet powerful. The world may misunderstand you, challenge you, and even punish you for your goodness. But your moral strength, cultivated through patience, humility, and courage, grants a freedom that cannot be taken. Machiavelli reminds us that virtue, though costly, is the path to inner power, a life lived fully, deeply, and freely, guided by conscience and fortified by experience. And in that quiet, unshakable freedom, we find the ultimate truth. Goodness is never wasted. It is never weak. It is the strongest force within us, shaping not only our lives, but the world in ways unseen, eternal, and profoundly human. And so we have walked together through the hidden costs of goodness, the loneliness, the betrayals, the difficult choices, the patience, and the humility that shapes a life of virtue. Machiavelli's lessons remind us that true goodness is never simple, never immediate, but always powerful. You don't need the world to understand you. You don't need applause to validate your choices. The real reward lies within, a freedom of mind, a strength of character, and a heart that remains unshaken no matter the storms outside. If this journey helped you pause, reflect, or breathe a little more peacefully today, I invite you to join our circle of wisdom. Like this video to honor the lessons we've shared, subscribe to our channel to continue walking this path together, and share this video with your family and friends so that others may also discover the quiet power of goodness. And in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. Which lesson resonated most with your heart? Which truth of virtue has shaped your life? Your story may inspire someone else to embrace patience, courage, and moral clarity in their own journey. Remember, goodness carries a cost, but it also carries a strength, quiet, enduring, and eternal. Stand firm, act rightly, and walk your path with courage. The world may not always notice, but your inner freedom, your moral power, and your resilience are already yours. Thank you for watching, and welcome to a life lived wisely, deeply, and freely.